Joe, we got to just hang it up, man. Like, this is where we're done. It's over.
We've been bantering for 7 straight minutes now without anybody else, I think. Right?
For seven full minutes, we gaslit. Would that be the past tense of gaslight? We gaslit ourselves. We had a good show going. It was
great. It was the best show that we ever did. It was, and now we have to recreate it.
All right, quick recap,
I'm
audience.
Halfway through my coffee over here.
I know, man.
I'm halfway through Cup of Joe.
Yeah, Tito actually nailed it. It's amazing. So we have oh my god. Okay, so 6:29 and 30 seconds, everything going according to plan. We say quick good morning to each other, backstory, we do a little 40 seconds of show prep, boom, hit the button, video starts, Adam's internet crashes. On Joe's end, I don't want to, jump in here, Joe, on the story. On Joe's end, everything is good except Adam isn't here. The video's continuing, comments are commenting, it's snowing in Connecticut. Joe just takes over the show. Lets it rip.
You
were doing it. You were doing it.
Man. It was fantastic. Let me just say that.
And then my internet comes back on. Joe's interacting. Joe's talking to various Gina, Erie, all kinds of people in the audience. And so I just hop in. I'm like, well, hey, do we need to replay the video or the intro? What happened? Joe says, no, everything's perfect. You just dipped out. I said, okay, cool. Here we are. How are you? We went guys, you didn't know it was Joe's birthday this week. He's feeling peppy. And somewhere in there, I said, I don't think we're live. I think we're just faking it right now. More so than usual.
How long? Oh my gosh. If you hadn't, would we have done a whole show?
We could have done. I even had my staged, shared presentation window that I tested out. And yet, 20 people are still here. I don't know what that means for our metrics. Like either we were
right.
better off.
Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter
if we're here or not.
That's right. Hey, look at Troy, man. He got you. He was the first to wish you a happy 50th, man.
Well, I appreciate it, Troy, but I'm not quite there yet.
Not quite there. Good for you, Joe.
Not quite there. I got 5 years yet. Even though this beard is pretty gray, pretty white.
It betrays you.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
Yeah, so 1979, huh?
79.
79. You popped into the world, huh?
Okay. Yeah, man. Like the Smashing Pumpkins song, right?
I can't stand that band.
You don't like the Smashing Pumpkins?
Not one bit, man. Not one bit.
Why? Why not?
I don't know. I don't have a good reason. They were, I liked the scene they were part of at the time. I don't get it, man. And I'm really conflicted because Green Day and Rancid are touring this summer.
Yeah.
Checks a lot of my boxes. Oh, with Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of money to sit through. I'm not sure.
I liked them, and I liked them even a little bit after they were their peak. And I saw them at Radio City Music Hall. It was a fantastic concert. Okay.
That's cool.
I ran into Billy Corgan at a Cubs game one time.
Yeah.
I made him laugh.
That's good.
Yeah, the kind of dark Billy Corgan. I remember he was sitting in front of me and I made some joke and he looked up. He had like a fishing hat on and he looked up and he was laughing.
That's exactly how Billy Corgan would look. Yeah. What did you hit him with? What was the
Oh, I had gotten tickets to the Cubs game and they were obstructed view, and I made some joke about, you know, I don't know, this pillar being in front of me, and it was probably a lame joke, but he laughed at it, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to make people laugh.
So you and Billy Corgan were sitting in obstructed view seating.
He was sitting. He was actually
Pumpkin's
sitting.
money doesn't get better seating.
No, he was sitting 2 people, like the pillar was in front of me, and there was a person sitting here, and then he was right next to that person.
Yeah. All right.
So he didn't have an obstructed view.
Okay. All right.
He was sitting next to what was obstructing my view.
I was going to say the story feels like it falls apart. I mean, like if I'm Billy Corgan, I'm not paying for a post in front of me. That's all. No.
Right. Yeah. No. He was he unobstructed for him. Definitely.
No. Look, I like the, you know, I like that he keeps his rock and roll band going. I like that he's a wrestling guy. He owns TNA Wrestling. He's a pro wrestling guy.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
there was a place also in Chicago that I ran into him at. Well, I'm saying I ran into him like, oh, I was like, hey, what's up? But it was a small little bar where people would go on a particular night. It was like Monday night or something. It was in this industrial area. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a really cool little bar. Actually, the first time I saw, I don't know if anybody knows Andrew Bird. Have you ever heard of Andrew Bird? He's a
good
violinist. He played there frequently.
Different Andrew Bird than I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, violin guy. He played there frequently, and Andrew Bird is fantastic. He's put out some great albums in the past 20 years, but this was like 2001 or so. And Billy Corgan would show up to those shows too.
You and Corgan just hanging out, huh?
Yeah, man. Hey, we run in the same circles, you know.
I would. Here's what I've learned though: is you find your way into cool stuff. I think sort of seeking it out, but curiosity. If you put yourself out there, good, neat things happen. And there's been a few things where I'm like, oh, Joe's not BSing me. This is cool. This is nice.
We actually had one night we were hanging out. We had a conversation about like what's the famous people that you have met and talked to, and we went around. Yeah, we ran around, and everybody has a particular story about meeting somebody, and they were all like really entertaining and hilarious. That night it was fantastic. It was so fun. The Chicago Dogs, you got to mention them. Yeah, you got to get the Hebrew national ones. With seeded buns and everything. Oh man, they're fantastic.
Okay. I've never been. I should go. It's kind of an institution, and I'm here in the Midwest. I mean, why not? Really?
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
We're in the Twin City, but yeah. All right.
Also, I would go down to the White Sox games too, and that was a treat as well. That's in South Chicago,
right?
And things at the White Sox games. Remember, it was during this time when people were running onto the field, and during the White Sox game, there was one incident where somebody ran out onto the field and attacked the third base coach of the Yankees.
Well,
but it was such a cheap ticket. Like you could go for like $7 and you could be like right on the field.
You could be there that's where Bad Leroy Brown is from.
South side of Chicago.
That's right.
It's the baddest part of town.
That's right.
You got to beware, you know.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, that's right. All right, we did it. It's WrestleMania weekend too, man. I feel like our delayed start, crippled our banter. But you got any?
I was going to bring that up too. Are you excited?
Yeah, I am. Well, I am. I have a show on Sunday though, so I'm gonna have to delay it till Monday. No spoilers. Nobody text me any outcomes. So I'll see the Saturday shows. Then Sunday morning, I got to get up about 4:30, head down to Des Moines, Iowa, and then vend, make some money, and then I'll be back late that night, and then Monday I'll probably take off and
where is
veg out.
WrestleMania happening?
That is in Philly.
Because there was talk about us meeting.
I know. I want to be. I wanted to be doing. Yeah, I wanted to be doing the show from Philly this morning. We're not, but I wanted to. You know.
What are you gonna do? What's the big fight?
It's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for I'm not gonna. We won't make this a wrestling show, but anyway, it's Cody versus Roman Reigns. But the night before, Saturday night 1 of WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and The Rock team against Cody and Seth Rollins, and whichever team wins gets a little stipulation bump in their favor for the championship the next night. You see, so interesting. Here's my hot take. I think The Rock is going to turn on Roman Reigns, and it's going to set up The Rock versus Roman in Minneapolis in 2025 WrestleMania 41.
Why is The Rock getting back in? I thought he was like a big time Hollywood superstar.
Well, from actually a true business standpoint, there was a little problem with Vince McMahon. Vince is gone. And they actually asked The Rock to take a seat on the board that oversees UFC and WWE, and he is now a board member. And he has been injected into the storyline, and
wow.
It's going to do huge numbers. Yeah, I mean, he's the highest paid dude in Hollywood or whatever right now. So I mean, it's going to do massive things.
I mean, there is a way of connecting both wrestling and what we talk about here.
We just did it.
That is by bringing up Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah,
What?
Okay, so
you have problems with Jake the Snake?
No, I love Jake the Snake. So there's a guy who's been on my Tuesday night show, and he has he's a ball python breeder and a very good guy. But I guess he made his presence in the social media world known under another channel called Welcome to the Grow Tent, and that is a plant-based culture channel, shall we say, to keep the Instagram, algorithm happy about
a particular type of plant.
That's right, a particular type of high dollar plant. And
understood.
So before he came on the show, I went to go check him out and do my show prep and backstory. And I click on one of his videos, and I'll be damned if Kevin Smith isn't doing his video intro. So priority number one, how do you get Kevin Smith to do your video intro? And he goes, well, I just messaged him on Instagram, and he liked my content, and he said he would do it. And I was like, hell yeah. So I went through every celebrity I could think of that's ever done anything with a snake, and I messaged all of them on Instagram. And if you'll notice, we have a tortoise in our intro. But Jake the Snake, Tito knows who the Grow Tent dude is, man. Yeah, Kevin Smith runs. I mean, he's got like 50,000 YouTube followers, which is like a subscriber on YouTube is like 10 on Instagram. It's unbelievable how many subscribers he has and the money he's making on those things. So I messaged like Jake the Snake, Alice Cooper, Slash. Anybody I could think of that's ever done it. Man, I can't believe I can't remember his name. The guy who's done more movies than anybody. Snakes on a Plane. The Capital
Samuel L. Jackson.
Sam Jackson. Yeah, I figured he could throw a little, curse word in our intro. So I got no response. But then I didn't.
You know what the L stands for in Samuel L. Jackson?
Tell me it's Leroy.
It is Leroy.
Oh, yes. Did I nail it? Is that right?
It's Leroy. Yeah.
I did not know that. Excellent. So there's these like conference, there's like Comic Con, there's Tinley Park, basically. There's Repticons. Well, there's WrestleCons. And in Jacksonville one time, Jake the Snake was going to be there. And I was going to buy 2 tickets and pay somebody to film me going up to Jake the Snake, just total guerrilla filming him, and go, say proper royals, and him go, what? And me go, like, just say proper royals. And like, just to see what would happen and to put that in the intro. That's what I was going to do. But
I mean, I would be worried about barking orders at Jake the Snake that I would get a DDT right there in the middle of the conference.
It was one of the best of the mid 80s. They outlawed that. They don't do DDTs anymore in WWE. Yeah, it's a neck, it turns out that fake move could actually hurt some people. So they don't do DDTs anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
we had some people who on here who's Jake the Snake was their favorite. I don't know. I mean, does it contribute to this idea of snakes being, menacing animals? And
it could be. Yeah, there was a famous match where the snake bit Randy Savage. Like, that was the payoff scene. He hung Savage in the ropes, and there's a scene like from Saturday. It was on Saturday Night Main Event. It was a really famous moment. The snake bit Macho Man, and Macho Man was tied up in the ropes, and Jake the Snake left him there with the snake latched on him.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what Jake the Snake is doing for the cause behind this show,
Yeah, well, he could step up on that. One last little anecdote, and then we got to get on to typewriters and stuff. Macho Man was this is true. Macho Man was so paranoid in those days. He thought that Jake the Snake was trying that the WWE was trying to kill him, and he confronted Jake the Snake backstage, and he told Jake the Snake, Jake Roberts, I'm not doing that spot where the snake bites me unless you make that snake bite you right here, right now. I want to see that snake bite you, and I want to see you live before I get in that ring. And you got to look up the story, man. To hear Jake tell it was just total crazed steroid era Macho Man losing his stuff. And he was like, yeah, I had to make that snake bite me. And then we went and did the match, and Macho Man took the spot.
I have seen Jake the Snake tell stories in his older age, and he's actually a really fun storyteller to listen to.
Well, he's gone through a hell of a recovery, man.
Yeah. He tells stories about Andre, and he was Andre's like driver for a little bit, and
Andre was terrified of that snake, man. He hated that snake. Damien was that Burmese python's name.
Damien, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
I don't know whatever happened to Damien. Anyway, Joe, I got offered a on Morph Market, by the way, too. This wasn't just some Craigslist deal. On Morph Market, somebody messaged me and offered me, wait for it, a used typewriter for, a vintage typewriter for one of my snakes that I had listed on there. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, I'm going to make a show about this. And then I said, no, thank you. This will be a cash deal. Love to work something out with you along those lines. And then they said, well, I could throw in some refurbished high-end women's purses if that would sweeten the deal. I'm being completely serious here. I have the screenshots. I was like, wow. No, thank you. And we ended up never doing a deal. And let me be clear, because I think too many times we publicly take out frustrations on customers and the market. Every market's weird. Every business has weird customers. And I truly think it was an honest offer. This woman definitely seemed knowledgeable about her typewriters, but it just wasn't for me. But I do it got me wondering how we value things, negotiation, and it was just a little bit funny on the typewriters. And to go way down this hole and take it way too far, humor me, if you will. I took, and I'm not going to be able to see the screen because I have to go navigate the eBay screen. So jump in where you want here, Joe. Okay. But I said to myself, well, maybe I'm missing the boat here. Maybe I'm missing out on an opportunity here. This is what goes through my mind. Maybe I need to look into the world of, maybe there's a world for it. So I went to eBay. I was amazed to see that there's 12,000 plus results for a vintage typewriter. So much like the ball python market, it appears the vintage typewriter market is a little bit saturated at the moment. However, I said to myself, let me go see. You can get some, I don't know if they're good or not. I would say decent looking vintage typewriters. Here's a twofer. You get two of these for $14.
Yeah.
And I said, and for reference, this snake I had listed was $425. So I was starting to have trouble seeing where I would fall, where the valuation could come. And I don't know anything about typewriters, and I actually don't really care to learn anything.
Right. Yeah.
I would be more interested in these cool cases as like music gear carrying cases to stroll into a gig with. That'd be kind of hip, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Right. A little throwback style. That'd be cool. But otherwise, I'm not seeing anything on here other than bigger than 100. Oh, there's $200 seems to be the high end for a 1918 Corona. Okay.
Wow. 1918.
Yeah, it's an old typewriter. So
Yeah.
then I said, man, out of 12,000, am I just not seeing the right ones? What is like the baddest typewriter you could possibly go for, get you? And so I'm going to go sort to the highest price first. Well, there's an ultra rare $23,000 one.
Oh
so
my
I was like,
gosh.
well, that would get my attention. I kind of don't think, but then I still have to sell it. That's the other problem.
Right.
And
yeah.
I got to find a buyer.
It's basically you're trading, depending on what you're trading for. Sure, you're getting into another game.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
need that. Right. So
Yeah.
these quickly drop off, out of 12,000 on the sixth most expensive one, we're down to like 1,900 already. And yeah, Joe, we got to dive into what you said. Yeah. Do we want the headache of a new, like, here, you take something I can't sell and you figure it out. And by the way, I'll take your thing.
I mean, it's not a bad, I don't think it's that crazy to barter like that. I mean, you've done bartering things like before, right?
Oh, with guitars. Yeah. I mean, that was great, man. I bartered my way right up to the top of a really high end Gibson to this day that I play. Matter of fact, I played it last night at a little gig.
But I'm guessing it's more one-to-one, like it's more in the realm of,
right.
It's in the same area.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, you play guitar, maybe you want a microphone, maybe you want an amplifier, an old vintage effects pedal.
Right.
Here's like, I can't type my Snake ads on a typewriter. So then I go to one of the things I like on eBay is that you can click over here and just see the sold items. So like, let's see what they actually go for. All right. All right. So there is in the on March 26th, somebody paid $3,000 for that old Olympia. Okay. There's a few moving. But let's look at what ended recently. Yeah. These are cheaper than Enchy Het Clown males. Like, I can't get into this game right here.
You can't get cheaper than Enchy Het Clowns. I mean, come on.
No, you don't want to do that. They're beautiful snakes. I'm a big fan of Enchy Het Clowns, but dollar wise, they don't really bring it. So there was the typewriter saga. I wasn't even about to try and value used Louis Vuitton purses that I look, maybe they were real, but I can't imagine that this person was like, I got these high-end bags, time to hit Morph Market and really, find my sweet spot here.
Now, obviously, I wonder if this has worked for them before, how much of this type of thing is happening on Morph Market, right?
Right.
I mean, we have somebody who said something. Oh, yeah, Balls and Strikes traded for some landscaping services last summer. Interesting. I mean, that's really useful, actually. I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm not dumping on, and that's why I wanted to put the disclaimer out front. So there's a quote I heard from this guy. His name is Mark Manson, and he's on Instagram and wrote some books and stuff. He has these really like catchworthy or catchy quotes. He says, if you have something to offer somebody, speak the blank up. Go help them. Go put yourself out there. So whether it's business, friendship, relationship, she maybe said, I got the best vintage typewriters in the world, and if you need one, I'm your person. And maybe she's throwing it out there. But to get off the typewriters for a minute, yeah, lawn services would be great if there were, imagine me being in a bind and needing some auto work done, and I happen to know, hey, we got a mechanic in the game. Hey, dude, I got a X, Y, and Z for you, but I don't have any cash on hand. What do you think? So it's
cutting out a portion of what you need to do in order to make that transaction. Like in order for you to pay for the car services, you'd have to sell that snake, get that money, and then pay for the car services. This is just cutting out the middleman, right?
That's right. Go right to it. Cuts out. I don't know the technical legalities here. Check with your tax people, folks. There's a disclaimer. Probably cuts down on, transactions on the books too. Maybe, it helps that way. You get, Jen's is, our partner's a mechanic, traded work for a clown male. Boom. That'd be great. Maybe I need to play some gigs for a snake. Maybe that's what we needed to do. This is great, guys. I love it. Keep them coming, everybody. What have you traded for snakes? Traded rodents for a working chainsaw. This is a whole new world, man.
Most of the trades though are snake to snake, isn't it? Like that's what you would. I'm going to trade you this for that, this for that, and that happens all the time. Yeah.
Well, we're constantly hit with, hey, this is great. Could I trade you that? Like you almost have to put a no trade disclaimer, or you're going to get just bombarded with trade stuff, you know?
Do you have a no trade disclaimer?
No, not as a regular policy, but by and large, my answer is no, thanks. I mean, I'm in it for cash kind of deal. And I suppose now, seeing how common this is out there, much like Troy, for the record, Gibson guitars do get my attention. Hit me up if you want to talk snakes for guitars. Let's have a little talk here. Joe, you said, and I don't mean to call you out, but you said behind the scenes you hate negotiation. You don't like it. You're not good at it, I think is what you were.
Well, I'm terrible
from the text.
I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at it, and I don't like it. Yeah, because I'm emotion forward. I get excited about stuff, and I want stuff, and that's often what leads me. So, if I get, let's say I'm into typewriters, and I have a bunch of snakes, and somebody says, I got a typewriter here for you. I go, yes. I like, for some reason I lose all sense of value, and I go, that's what I want. I'm impulsive like that. So I'm not, and then like the bargaining and like trying to figure out, this is what this is worth, and this is what this is worth. Like, it doesn't add up in my head. I'm just terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. And I think I used to go to the Jersey Shore when I was a kid. And there's all these like booths and everything along the way where people try to get you to play games and throw darts,
Carnival Barker feel, right?
And I was taken a few times at those things.
Oh, wow.
and as like a young, like 12-year-old, I remember like I had a certain amount of money and I thought it was like, wow, I have like $50. I have like a whole lot of money. And I was like a kid, and I went to the Jersey Shore and I walked away with like $20 left and a picture of Darren Dalton from the Philadelphia Phillies.
The Phillies, like, that's right.
I really wanted that. I really wanted that Darren Dalton picture for my wall. but I ended up paying like $30 for
Right.
it.
You could have just ordered it for 6 or whatever, right?
I am terrible at that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, if you want to take somebody and, negotiate with somebody and win out in the end, I'm your guy.
Did a couple questions come to mind. First, was there ever a person who could stuff more of like that stringy tobacco in their cheek than Darren Dalton? That's what I like. It always looked like he had a golf ball in his cheek. Like nowadays, it's a little low key. You just stick it in your lip, man. Yeah.
Him and Lenny Dykstra. Yeah.
Yeah. Lenny Dykstra, both of them. Yeah. Yeah. Those guys that was like the end of an era of the rough and tumble, like, anyway, probably
now,
good that
speaking of baseball and baseball cards and trades, I did have baseball cards. I had football cards.
Right.
And there were a few good trades that I remember. I had like a rookie Barry Sanders card. It was like a score Barry Sanders card, a rookie Barry Sanders card. And I traded for a 58 Mickey Mantle card. And that was a big, like, I was like, oh, I came out on top
I was just about to say, like, what could you possibly trade at a Sanders rookie? But wow, a 58 Mantle, huh?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, 50, am I right? For the 52 Topps Mantle, like that was, there's a few cards more expensive, but that was like the bar, right? That's the one.
I think so. Yeah.
John Crook. Am I right about the story about John Crook? Hits a home run, rounds the bases, retires mid-game. He's like, "That's it, I'm out." Like, I think that's how he ended his career. Like,
I don't
grabs
know.
a cigarette, everything. Like, he was there. The tobacco, the cigarette chewing, first baseman, hits a home run. Sayonara, folks. It's beautiful. I love it. Way to go out.
His ballpark routine, like his game day routine, was like he goes to the park, he eats 3 hot dogs, right, and then he's ready to play or something like that. He was my favorite. I had a poster of him on my wall. John
little
Crook.
Graphic. He had a health issue where at one point in his life he had 2, like everybody generally comes into the world with, and then he was taken down to 1, as I understand the story goes. Yeah, we've totally left the station here on the track. You said though you would be impulsive if, say, you were into typewriters. I understand you're probably not into typewriters, but what is something that you are into or you have done like this other than a Lenny Dykstra poster? Like today, if you were like just perusing around, or say you're trying to sell something, what's something that somebody could throw at you that would be like, oh like I'm in? I mean, like a set of disc golf discs, or
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Some
I think
vinyl.
I think I'm so averse to it that it like I wouldn't even enter into the conversation, because because I've had too many experiences where I've had that trait, like it's not buyer's remorse, I guess. Well, maybe it is buyer's remorse, but I've had too many experiences where I'm like, wait a second, that wasn't a good trade. I don't So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
So
what about you? I mean,
I love stuff. I love the trading stuff, and I would get like, I don't want to get too nerdy on guitars, but yeah, so I like testing the water. I like to, when I negotiate or try and figure something out, I try and figure out what's going to make the other person tick. And I know that that's not like super insightful or anything, but a story does come to mind when I was prepping this show.
Okay.
Kelly and I, we went and we got a Honda CRV or something. We had a baby on the way. It was time to get the family vehicle. So we go to get a Honda CRV, and you choose the Honda, and then you got to go see the there's the sales manager, and then he's going to send you to the finance guy, and the finance guy. So the finance guy is there, but he's also trying to sell us all these like package upcharges and all that. And in all of that, I said to myself, because I'm generally totally averse to all these upsales. I was like, no, just get me the paperwork, get me what we agreed to, and get me out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
And he wouldn't let it go. And it clicked. I said, oh, you know what? This guy's on commission for all these package upsales. And some of them were nice, you know, free wipers for life. You could get these kind of seats or this polished packet. I don't know what. I mean, they were nice stuff, but I would never pay for it. Like you're going to give it to me, throw it in. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's clear that he's on commission and he's going to make money doing these things. But he also was the finance guy. And it clicked to me. He wanted these sales commissions. And I didn't know how high up the chain he was on the finance guy. And I said to him, and let's just say it was $250 a month because I'm pretty cheap. Or maybe that's not cheap. I don't know. I haven't had a car payment. That actually might have been the last car payment I ever had. But I said to him, hey, if you can, every one of these things that you sell me, you lower the interest rate so that my payment stays the same, I'll take every one of them. Mm-hmm. And Joe, his eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. He's like, let me check your credit again. We might be able to work something out. And it was like, what? So we had all this crap, you know, free if you car wash, wipe, and of course I never use it. That's why they sell it to you. You know, oil changes for life. Well, we moved to North Carolina. I'm not going to drive to Jacksonville for every oil change. Right. But the point being, I landed on what was sort of his what was making him tick, and he had the mechanism to help me out. So he just lowered the interest rate tick by tick for every little upsale that he sold me. Right. We brought the interest rate down, and I walked out with the same, like say $250 a month or whatever I negotiated with the sales guy. And so I like that story because it made me think, all right, what's going to make the other person tick? So if, for example, I did have a lawnmower or 80s metal vinyl, and I wanted what a Snake that Troy had at Balls and Strikes, then I'm going to call him up, or, you know, and I'm wearing cool stuff. Chris at B&S Reptilia, I actually like vintage money too. I have no idea why I like it. I don't think it's worth any more. And it's really weird to pay $100 for a really old $1 bill, which that'll mess up with your head. But I dabble a little bit in some old money. So, so if you could find what makes the other person tick, and then just listening sometimes, just let them, I wouldn't say ramble on, but that acoustic guitar that I have. So for everybody's frame of reference, retail guitar prices are a joke first. They list them at a price. It's almost like cars. Here's the list price, and then you go negotiate, and you or somebody's running a sale, or they have a Guitar Center exclusive, so they can list it at a lower price. But acoustic Gibsons, like their standard series, you're out the door for, I mean, just to get in the door, you're just under $3,000. And I to this day, I'm not going to spend $3,000 on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I found one that's like a gem. It's one of 75. It's a beautiful handcrafted custom shop, just amazing guitar. And I wanted it, but I didn't know how in the world I was going to get it. And I just asked the guy, are you up for trades? I have a bunch of guitars. And I couldn't believe it. He talked himself in. He just said, yeah, I'm looking for an electric. And, you know, I think I would do this for a Les Paul Standard. Now, Les Paul Standard off the rack, you're going to get in for just under $3,000 as well. Mm-hmm. But I had found used ones, traded amps. I had it was like a 2-year barter system of starting at very, very little, working my way up to that Les Paul Standard I'd found on Craigslist with bartering, trading. And I'll be damned if this dude didn't take a Les Paul Standard off my hands that I'd gotten for very, effectively very little other than bartering. And it's my literal acoustic dream acoustic guitar. I don't even look at acoustics anymore because I have that guitar, and I play the hell out of it. I played it last night, so it can happen.
Well, you're exactly right. It's figuring out what makes each one of you tick. I mean, and then figuring out how you're both going to win during that in the in the transaction.
Yeah.
So, and I'm thinking, you know, leave it to me to make this, you know, an existential thing for me, because
Okay.
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what do I really like? Like, what, who am I?
Yeah. Who am I in this
Why
world?
is there nothing that would draw me into some kind of barter? Uh, and so I'm like, okay, so what is it? Now I did come up with something though,
Okay.
just listening to you, because uh, you're talking about, I love playing this guitar, and that's like an experience. I would say what would draw me in would be experiences.
Okay.
So it would be more like let's say I have hundreds of comic books, right?
Yeah.
So
Let's say
so
Lenny Dykstra wants some vintage comic books. Take it from there.
well, let's say somebody wants one of the old my Fantastic Four number 12. That's going to be and they say I have tickets to WrestleMania
Right.
and plane tickets. It's an all expense. I've got it. It's ready to go. I would bite on something like that.
Uh, Plane tickets for two, right? One from Minneapolis, one from Tampa. Guys, you heard it. Fantastic Four, number 12. Uh,
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I don't know. That seems less common, though. That seems less
yeah.
common, but that's what like to spend my money on is these days more than anything else
Yeah,
is
stuff is
experience.
yeah, forget stuff. I'm done with stuff. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I like experiences. So, do you spend much time on a site like Craigslist or eBay, or is there a nerd forum? Like I'm forever on a guitar forum. I'm forever on Snake forums, and I watch Craigslist incessantly.
Just for stuff to
Yeah,
get.
I
Yeah.
mean, mostly guitars, but sometimes, yeah. There's even like a free section of Craigslist. It's absolute garbage in there, but who knows what you run across?
So there is. I spend time, and it's not for planning purposes. I do spend time on Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
I just looking at possible places to
Just
live.
possible destinations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if I'm, if I can't sleep or something like that, it's just kind of like a fun thing for me to do,
Really?
uh,
Okay.
is to look and see, oh, maybe that would be a cool place to go, or something like that. Sometimes I go on Zillow too and just
Yeah.
kind of,
Just peruse.
that's an
Yeah,
interesting,
Trader
yeah.
brings up a good point. That's Tito. Yeah, I do like the Facebook Marketplace. I just bought a oh man, springtime is here. I just bought a new road bike off of New to Me bike.
Oh, you went out yesterday, right?
I did, man. It was fantastic. I felt like a kid again out on that thing. It was great. Get the cardio going. Yeah. I mean, it was only like 12 miles maybe that I did total, but it was
Yeah.
great to get out and do it. Yeah, the the Facebook Marketplace, you get the algorithm working for you. So it shows you what it thinks you would like based on, your comments and whatnot. Like I guarantee the marketplace will be popping up bikes forever because I looked at bikes on the marketplace. Then I posted that post yesterday about being out on said road bike. But you get the algorithm feeding you good stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I always look at just window shopping. I rarely buy, but you never know.
Sometimes I go on bands in town. I don't know.
Oh, I haven't. No, I'm not familiar with that.
That's like, it's like concerts in town.
Oh,
And
so you can
so
put
just,
in like a zip code or a town, and it'll give you like
yeah,
the calendar.
I don't know if it's as good as it used to be. But yeah, sometimes I go on there and I'm like, that would be fun to see the Guess Who at Mahaffey. That would be
American
fun.
Woman, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I
Actually,
would.
their greatest hits album is top notch. It's so
Oh,
good.
no
It's
sugar
so good.
tonight in my coffee.
Ah, come on.
Yeah,
Forget
New
about it.
Mother
These
Nature
Eyes,
taking over. Yeah, that's right, man.
Done. Come on.
Well,
They're great.
that guy went. He's the guy that went on to. He was Randy. He was in Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Guess Who evolved into BTO, taking care of business, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the tree there. So I had a different. Oh, the bands in town. Yeah, when I travel, I always like to try and find like one of those like hip like culture newspapers or whatever. And Jacksonville called it Folio. I think Creative Loafing in Tampa.
Yeah.
And I would look for the calendar of bands. So bands in town. I'm not familiar with that, but bands in town.
I mean, it might be defunct. It might not be as good as it used to be, but yeah, I used to go on there and just to see what was around. And yeah, and I miss that though. I miss, like Creative Loafing and stuff. But like in Chicago, when I lived in Chicago, there was the Reader. And so you'd go and then there'd be a whole section and it was just black and white print of all the bands that were going to be playing that week or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
I remember it hasn't happened often, but a few times I remember like my gigs were printed in Folio Weekly in Jackson. I was like, yes, look at that. You know, you save the little cutout and then you're like, it's just a one-line black and white. It's not like an expose on Adam, you know. Okay.
Right. Remember how excited you were when you were a kid? Like if you like, I don't know, like if you played baseball or not, but like I played like Little League and then there'd be like a little part in the Pocono Record, there'd be a little part. And if I had like a good game, it'd say Joe Arner 2 for 3 or whatever. I was so excited. I would be so excited.
What was your lifetime average? Do you remember? Do you ever track that sort of thing?
No.
Yeah, okay, I don't know. So there was one time, and this is a completely true story, and it was the Florida Times Union, the Jacksonville paper. There is, insert your adjective here. There's a blank adjective band that are called the Red Hot Chili Pipers. And they do this like flame throwing bagpiper thing. And we were on the same bill as them at this festival. And they were the headliners. And the person that, hand to God, I have to post this on Instagram. I have to find the paper. The Florida Times Union screwed up seeing that it was the Red Hot Chili Pipers, and they ran a story that the Red Hot Chili Peppers were playing, the real band were playing the amphitheater in Jack's Beach, and Spade McQuaid and the All-Stars were opening. And so there's a Florida Times Union article about the time Spade McQuaid and the All-Stars opened for the Red Hot Chili Pipers. And those of y'all not catch it, I played in Spade's band for like 17 years.
The paper, I mean, come on.
It was, I'm actually, in retrospect, probably happier I have that paper that records in history that there was that one time that we opened for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But it never happened, man. And, anyway, I would not trade that paper for anything.
Interesting. You would not trade that paper.
I think it's hilarious. I think, when I'm long gone and, generations of Shiras, future Shiras are looking through my stuff, they're going to be like, look at the amazing life that this Adam lived. He got to open for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, according to this paper.
They'll probably be like, who are the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
They'll probably at you anyway. Yeah. One other thing to bring it all back on valuation and weird timing stuff. So at the same time, I had a person very interested in a snake asking me 19 questions, which is actually fine. It's part of the deal. Yeah, I prefer the easier sales. Hey, I'll take this. Here's the cash. Adios. Great. But there is a customer education component to what we do, and it's a live animal, so I think it's necessary. I want the snake. We'll be in the cities in 2 weeks. We'll let you know. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be a pushy salesman, but you really need to put a deposit on this if you want this kind of deal. And no, we're into it, but I got to check with my husband and we got to work out the details because we're coming up for a concert and there'll be a hotel room. Okay. The snake sells. Somebody else says, I'll take it. Here's cash. Boom. Sold the snake this week. So I let them know on a courtesy, and they're like, oh, that. And what caught me is that they used the word always. They said, oh, that always happens to us. And I'm like, well, if it always happens, you should change what you're doing. Like, you should be a little bit like, don't be impulsive. There's a difference between decisive and impulsive, you know? So I think that factors into this negotiation and bargaining too. At some point, you got to say, all right, we've reached a fair enough valuation, and I'm not going to worry about whatever that last X percentage is. That because at the end of the day, we're going to lose the deal if we could potentially lose the deal if we just keep going on this. And I think that's something important to look at as well. So in the Honda story, the likelihood of me walking out of that room without the Honda was very, very low. So the guy could keep going.
Yeah.
At a snake show or a marketplace like Morph Market, there's tens of thousands of buyers. There's tens of thousands of snakes. Somebody is going to figure it out before you do if you dilly-dally around too long. And I could tell that they were disappointed. They were gracious, and actually they said they'll come see me this weekend at the show in Iowa. So I mean, I'll probably meet them anyway. And I still said, hey, if you need help taking care of your snake, let me know, kind of deal. But they missed out on the snake that they wanted. And this was an ongoing conversation of about a week. Like I say, I mean, they had ample opportunity, but at the end of the day, you gotta, it's a bad expression to say pull the trigger, right? You gotta cash the check, send the money, but I'm cool with deposits and payments too. Like I laid it all out there to make this work for them. So there's the food for thought too.
I think part of it is you want to, like, I always feel like if I'm making a big purchase, I always feel like the person that I'm buying from is like pulling a fast one on me.
Oh yeah, you're just feeling like you're feeling like you're out of your element, and you're not getting a fair shake, but you have to do it.
I am like on big purchases, I am like, yeah, I do have a problem being decisive. And sometimes to the point where I'm just like, just forget about it, and walk away, or I go, forget about it, here's the money.
Let's just be done.
I don't even want to think about it anymore. And then I construct that this person was a really nice person in my head as I walk away, and they
were looking out for you.
Yeah.
So there's two things.
I think part of it is, meeting you. I mean, getting to know you and meeting you and knowing that you're a trustworthy person and building a relationship with you. It's those other times when you just don't know who you're dealing with that makes it tough to make a purchase like that.
It's a little ironic, isn't it? Like the smaller stuff, we end up building like real relationships over, like really interpersonal things. Like you go to somebody's garage sale and you're in their home, you're in their garage, you're wheeling and dealing about the old, the lanai set or whatever.
Yeah.
You get to know them a little bit. They know you. And now you're making a little bit of a deal, but a 6-figure purchase, like a house, you're sending a contract, you're in a boom time in Florida. You don't know who you're buying from. You don't know who these people are. There's X item, there's 5 other bidders, here's the money, boom, I'm in. Like I had never thought about that irony. I also like where you said you construct the story in your mind about the person, like to reassure yourself that I'm not saying you, because I do it all the time where I'm like, Kelly laughs at me, she's like, I think that might be in your head. Like she literally says that stuff to me where I'm like, you know what, we might have overpaid, but I was really happy to work with that person. I think they're going to do good stuff with that money. And Kelly's like, yeah, sure they are. That's
yeah, exactly.
But I will say there's a value to just getting on with stuff. Sometimes I won't say who, because it's sort of a negative light. a very close family member of mine will spend 3 days figuring out the perfect offer on something, and it's like $20 difference than it. So they lost 3 days to save $20, and I'm like, there's the money, and they're like, yeah, but it's $20. You don't have it anymore. And I'm like, I have my time. I have my
right.
you know,
If
if it's the right thing, and I do believe this in snakes to a point, if it's the right animal from the right breeder, what are you doing? Just I mean, within reason, just pay the thing. Like if it's the right breeding animal, and in theory, you're going to make 6 babies off of it every year. If not a male, that's going to go to 10 females, and you're going to make 60 babies off the thing. What do you really care about? $50 difference kind of thing. So it's funny, all those things that we put ourselves through. We get hung up on holding on to that $50, or the flip side, we make a deal that maybe we shouldn't have, but we make a story in our head of like, well, they're probably giving the extra money to UNICEF. I mean, this really was a win-win for the children, right? Like we
the children,
right? It's a good thing here. So, yeah, I think that I'm glad we stumbled on that. That was it took us a little over. Today's been a hectic ride, I would say.
It's been fun though. It's been very fun.
I think it is fun. One hectic thing we didn't talk about was Cold Blooded Cafe, guys. Proper 11, you're going to save 11% off of your frozen rodent needs. It's what I use. I still use it. I grow ASFs, but my adults I have on frozen thawed. And I was a customer before we ever did business. And if you've used the code before, it has reset. Use it again. Go try it again. There's that other, go back and watch old episodes. There's another code out there too, which I feel like underhanded if I tell you exactly. So go check out some old thumbnails, see the different code. Also, Keith at Creative Genetics, check him out. He is working on Stranger, working that into various recessives. He is in Fresno, California. You can find him on Instagram, Morph Market. And I am partnering with him on a clown axanthic that is now starting to, the females that he's been paired with have started ovulating. So we're going to have all sorts of visual clown axanthics coming up, lots of codom het combos, and then we'll have some triple het clown axanthic hypo combos. Come on, this is good stuff coming up. This is going to be a fun summer. Joe, could you imagine a triple het clown axanthic hypo codom combos?
I literally cannot imagine it.
I love it. I still love that you and I were like, yeah, let's do the show. Here's the concept. We'll talk about snakes. Joe's not going to have any idea, and we're going to make it about going through life, snake breeder and his non-snake breeder buddy. And dude, we're not far. We're 2/3 of the way to having done a year's worth of this. Every Thursday morning, not to mention the god awful time slot we chose. What were we thinking on any of this? I should say too, before we have the big wrap up, if you haven't checked out the Proper Royals Patreon, you should. $7 is the entry tier. The top 2 tiers convert to store credit 100%. Every Thursday, there's a new business content video posted on Patreon, and you get first dibs on all of those clutches I just mentioned. Patreon gets first dibs on all new animals that I produce. So there you go. Let me know if you have any questions. Come check it out. So what do you got coming up for this week, Joe? What's exciting this week other than WrestleMania and finding out how Adam's Des Moines, Iowa show went?
It's low key. Actually, before I see you again, I have another doctor appointment. Fantastic. So that's really what I'm looking forward to.
For the one time in the show, your voice cracked, your energy went down right when you said doctor. It was like palpable. So for those that don't know, you're still house ridden, right? Like you're not leaving the house. You're immunocompromised.
I mean,
you're recovering.
I probably shouldn't say it, but I am venturing out here and there. I can drive and stuff like that, but I'm just for insurance purposes. Yes, I am homebound because I have a PICC line in my arm, into
Still,
my
that's right. I
chest.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I have these antibiotics that I take every day. But I feel fantastic. I feel great.
Yeah,
So
you're peppy. You've met your New Year's resolution goal already on April 4th. You had a little medical help, and
right, yeah.
flushing some weight out. And
That's
then
right. Yeah.
so you go to the doctor. They're going to give you a date to yank this appendix out, you think, yet or not yet?
There's a slight chance. Well, I do a CT scan in a few weeks to see what's going on, because my last scan there was still some inflammation there, but there's a slight chance that the appendix has disintegrated. So that's what I'm hoping for. But
The old disappearing appendix trick, huh? Wait a
yes. If I could pull
wait,
that
wait.
off, it'd be
Yeah.
fantastic.
I've heard of, never mind. I can't even say it. Wait, the appendix just disappears. Just like,
Yeah,
I've had
with
enough.
the
I'm out.
yeah, that's what my surgeon said. So we have to make sure that he says we have to make sure that the appendix is still there, and then a week later we'll do the appendectomy. So that'll be first. I talked to him yesterday. That'll be the CT scan will be the end of April, and then the appendectomy will be the beginning of May, sometime probably.
So maybe blame this on my lack of sleep or the crazy pace that I keep. Do you remember from South Park the little Mr. Hanky emoji character?
Yes.
I have a vision of like a little appendix emoji, like running around in the world that is Joe inside and like hiding from but then like stirring up trouble later, like the mischievous appendix that just magically disappeared. I know that's not rooted in any medical conclusions or fact or evidence, but in my mind, that's the story I'm making up. When you're like, yeah, it could just be gone. Like, oh, it's just
I was
gone,
as shocked as anybody to hear that. I mean, but the upside of that is that if it's gone, then I don't have to have surgery. But it's probably still there, and I do have to have surgery. I probably still have an appendix.
I am wildly interested in this, which makes no sense to keep going on the show. But I am all right. The saga of the disappearing appendix. Let's see if Joe can pull this off. So you're going this week. You'll find this out this week.
No. I'm going to see infectious disease doctor who is handling my medicine.
Okay.
So
All right. Okay.
I'm having like a follow up with her and she'll tell me. I assume that she'll tell me whether or not I need to continue antibiotics or not. So.
Gotcha. We do have to wrap up. We started a little bit slow, so we got a little overtime. I'm kicking around an idea for next week, Joe, but maybe it's 2 weeks out or maybe it's never. They have these things that you can do, like rock and roll fantasy camp. You could do like a baseball fantasy camp. And I was wondering if there's a business model for like somebody to come, like move in and live with me for a week. And we'll do like everything. We'll do rodents. We'll do ball pythons. We'll do my numbers. We'll do a show together. We'll do it a week of vending. Like, well, I don't want to dive into it now, but I feel like there's a little business model show idea right there. And before people go, well, why would somebody want to do that with you, Adam, when maybe, Justin or Bob should be doing this? Sure. But you get a better valuation, a little cheaper. You're going to trade a little bit of experience for a little bit of price, and it's going to be very feasible and achievable. And it's going to be a content gold mine, is what I'm thinking. So, let's kick this around. Maybe we can.
All right. Yeah.
We can workshop this thing. Audience, let me know if you like the idea. If you're still watching, thank you so much. Joe, good luck. You want to, I'm afraid to try and end it. Like, we have to remember that maybe we didn't end the show because when we thought we began the show, we did not today. So everybody,
Always fun. Always having a great time with everybody here. And thanks so much for the engagement and everybody chiming in on the chat. We just had a blast this morning. Thanks. And thanks for always setting me up for a good Thursday. You have a great week, everybody. See you next week.
Boom.